Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching. It would mean the world to us if you could just scroll down, like, hit the subscribe button for the Snaps YouTube channel. It goes a long way towards helping us out. Now, let's dive into some college football. To mailbag question number 2 from Ken G. A lot of people at Baton Rouge are excited about the 2025 recruiting class for LSU. They got Bryce Underwood, who's the number 1 quarterback, Harla Berry, the number 1 running back, and maybe Decorium Moore. He's the number 1 wide receiver. However, On3 did just flip on Decorium Moore to saying that now they believe that he's a Texas lean, even though he's committed to LSU. So we'll keep an eye on that. And he goes on to say, will Brian Kelly win a natty at LSU? And if so, when? I still think Brian Kelly will break through at some point and win a national championship at LSU because, again, the last 3 coaches have, right? And I think that he's I think that he's at his height, probably a better coach than Les Miles was. And I think that he's probably better coach than Ed Orgeron was.
Yes.
And so that would think that, yes, he will win becomes much more interesting because I don't see it this year. Maybe next season with a more experienced Garrett Nussmeier, 1 more year in the hopper, a year to build up and shore up some of the weaknesses, another year with this new defensive staff that you just paid $10 million for essentially to bring in there. So I'm thinking maybe year 4 would be a year to circle in which LSU needs to take a significant step forward. And that'd also be another year of not having Nick Saban. So like there's a lot of trends that would point to maybe not this year, but the year after for LSU.
Yeah, I don't think it's this year. I think if LSU can get to that double-digit win, I think that's a huge that to me that would be like, okay, I still consider him a top 5 coach, still consider him, one of the best in the game. If you can get a couple pieces, you mentioned Garrett Nussmeier coming back for another season, year 4, possibly. I don't know. Like I don't know what teams are going to look like next, in 2 seasons. I don't know who's going to say who's they may lose both their tackles. Both those tackles, it's going to be maybe the best offensive line in America at LSU. Both those tackles may go to the NFL, so then you're having to replace guys on the offense. So like, you just don't know what these rosters are going to look like in 2 years. But I can firmly say that I truly believe like this year ain't going to be the year. So, what's next, year 4? We'll see. But I think you brought up a great point. Let's not forget when he took over this roster, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, they had 30-something scholarship players on that roster. They could barely put together a team to play in a bowl game. It was embarrassing. So, yes, to take that, turn it into an SEC West winner in year 1, and then a double-digit winner in year 2, it's pretty damn impressive. It's a lot more to build with that roster. So, not this year, but possibly year 4.
Yeah, I mean, Gulf South says BK took over a worse situation than Saban, Miles, or Coach O. That's objectively true.
Yeah.
And yes, Nussmeier does have 2 years left. So you kind of figure he'll probably be your starter for the next 2 years, unless he has like an astronomical year and decides that he wants to go ahead and make his way to the NFL. Do you think Brian Kelly will win a natty at LSU in this 10-year contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's too much hidden talent in Louisiana. I mean, they're the team that has put more NFL guys in the NFL draft that have been drafted that weren't 4- and 5-star guys than anyone else in the country. It's incredible. Like the 2- and 3-star guys are in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana.
Yeah, they are. LSU's terrible with 5 stars, and they're basically like the Iowa of the SEC when it comes to developing the underrated guys and getting them into the NFL. Yeah. Mailbag question number 3. This comes from T-Bob H. Can Michigan set an NFL draft record this year? Remember, back in the day, Harbaugh, before the season, said he thinks Michigan could have 20 draft picks, set the record. Now, a couple of guys chose to return, which maybe affects that number, but the record was set by UGA in 2022. It's that 21 UGA team. They had 15 draft picks, 5 first rounders. 2019 LSU had 14 draft picks. 04 Ohio State had 14. This is very rare. However, when you look at this Michigan team, they had 18 players invited to the combine. UGA had 14 in that year, which had all those players drafted. There is a chance they're not going to touch the 5 first-round picks, but
No.
there is a good chance, not good chance, but there is a shot that Michigan could indeed end up setting the record and having 16 players drafted.
Woo.
And probably the biggest surprise there would be the fact that 12 of the 14 for UGA were 4 or 5 stars, whereas all these picks from Michigan, a bit more development, a bit less frontline superstars coming out of high school, and yet guys who went and joined the program and were made into NFL guys, which I think is a big credit to Michigan scouting and their development and their process overall.
Yeah. And I think the not only the scouting and development, which is probably 1A, 1B when it comes to like the importance, but also like just buying in. I mean, they truly bought into their identity. They bought into the identity that we're going to be more physical, we're going to be stronger, we're going to, just beat you to death at the line of scrimmage. And that was their identity. And that's what the nation viewed them as. That's what Ohio State and the Ohio State fans viewed them as. That's how they viewed themselves. We're going to be bigger, tougher, stronger, maybe not as athletic as Ohio State, maybe not as flashy, but this is who we are. And it was 3 years of building to that championship. And now it culminates with the possibility to put more guys in the NFL than anyone else to the draft. So I love it. Harbaugh brainwashed the shit out of them, and it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, they're like the Northern A&M in many ways. Our resident Beaver fan, Clint Moses, saying Jonathan Smith is overrated. Where's he coaching now? Where did he leave? Where did he leave? Where did he end up? Where did he end up? That feels a bit like
the Big Ten.
Sour,
right? The Big Ten.
Sour grapes. Because I thought he did a really great job at Oregon State, so I don't think I would answer that. Where did he end up going though?
Somewhere in the Big Ten, I believe.
Michigan State.
Yeah,
good call. Yeah, Michigan State. We'll see. Surfer Boy says bigger, tougher, and stronger, and Michigan cheated like no other team in college football. Not really, dude. Come on, dude. No, they didn't. It's kind of like Deflategate, whatever, dude. I don't think it
doesn't deflate footballs. I mean, come on, really?
Yeah, remember Chase Daniels sitting here talking about all the football prep that Alex Smith used to do. I love what
you should see my pregame rituals.
We know about you. You wouldn't even dap anybody up. You can't have that golden arm touched. Mm-mm. I'm still thinking about you saying that all of these women's fathers would be happy that you slept with their daughters. They're like, yeah, you did fuck my daughter, but then again, it's Aaron Murray. Like, that's pretty cool. That's not a bad thing to have inside of my beautiful daughter that I used to play with.
She's going to take anyone.
4 years old.
Yeah,
exactly.